Is Mulan a girl worth fighting for? Is she a girl worth fighting over? We're going to talk about Mulan on this episode of Clownfish TV. This is Neon. Yeah, so there's some controversy around Disney's live-action remake of Mulan. In particular, the star of Disney's live-action remake of Mulan got herself into some hot water with some Chinese because of her opinions on the protests in Hong Kong. So before we get into that, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants here on Clownfish TV. We hit 50,000 subs this week. Thank you so much for that. We want to hit 100,000 by the end of the week. That would be phenomenal. I don't know if we can do it. But we would love to try. So please hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so far. So yeah, this is not really good news for Disney because they are constantly trying to push their movies in China. A lot of their box office depends on the Chinese box office, and right now there are some problems. There are some problems with its star, Lui Yifei, who said some stuff that made some people angry. So apparently even China can't get away from politics in the entertainment industry. So this actually comes after Mulan had some other controversy attached to it. That the historical inaccuracies of the Mulan movie, right? Disney's live-action movie. It took a lot of liberties with, Chinese architecture, I think, for one. They actually were talking about some of the architecture in the trailer and how Chinese people pointed out that that architecture could not coexist. They said it was sort of like dropping a New York City skyscraper into the Renaissance era, and people were joking that Mulan has to take the subway to join the army. So Disney not paying a whole lot of attention to historical accuracy in their live-action remake of a cartoon that also featured a talking dragon voiced by Eddie Murphy. That dragon will not be appearing in the Mulan live-action movie. As I understand it, neither will the songs. It's not going to be a musical, so they're trying for something a little more serious. And you know what? I think they're getting something a little more serious with this backlash. So this coming from CNN, Hong Kong protesters call for Mulan boycott after the star went public in support of police. Now, I am not terribly familiar with Chinese politics, being an American, but I do know they're having all kinds of problems over there. It's front page news here in the States, so I do not know the particulars of it. So forgive my ignorance. But we're going to talk a little bit about this in relation to Disney and how it may affect Disney's overseas box office, because this isn't the only controversy around the live-action princess movie remake. They also have issues with Ariel being cast as an African-American in China. They have an issue with that. So Disney, to hit their $1 billion mark, which they shoot for $1 billion on every one of their movies now, to hit the $1 billion mark, they depend on China heavily. And if the Chinese aren't on board with these movies, they might not hit their $1 billion mark. Poor Disney. They might not make $1 billion off of Mulan or The Little Mermaid. What are they going to do? They might only hit 800 or so million. That's dismal. $800 million is practically nothing. The sad truth is, I'm joking, but the sad truth is to Disney, anything under $1 billion is basically nothing at this point. They need $1 billion movies. So even Mulan is getting political. This is coming from CNN. Lui Yifei, the Chinese-born actress starring in Disney's upcoming live-action Mulan remake, waded into the Hong Kong protest controversy on Thursday by expressing support for the city's police, who anti-government demonstrators accuse of using excessive force to quell unrest. This does sound like it has a parallel here in the States. I support the Hong Kong police. You can all attack me now. What a shame for Hong Kong, she posted on Weibo. Weibo, is that how it's pronounced? The Chinese Twitter, a Twitter-like Chinese social media platform. I think that's how it's pronounced. It's not Weibo. I thought it was Weeaboo. It's not Weeaboo. It's Weibo. Weibo, I think. I think that's how it's pronounced. Immediately, people began posting the hashtag boycott Mulan on Twitter, which is banned in China. Maybe the Chinese are smarter than we are. We should ban Twitter over here, but it is banned in China. Hours later, the hashtag was trending in Hong Kong and the United States with 37,000 tweets posted at the time of writing. Twitter users accused the actress of supporting police brutality and called out the fact that she's an American citizen. Liu is a naturalized American citizen, must be nice. Meanwhile, she pisses on people fighting for democracy, one person tweeted. On the flip side, she also received plenty of praise on Weibo. Weibo. Is that Weibo? I think it's Weibo. The dominant platform in China. Nearly all the comments on her post echoed support for the Hong Kong police in Beijing. Believe in the government, believe in the Chinese central government, believe in our country, one comment wrote. The protests, which began in June as largely peaceful mass demonstrations against a now suspended extradition bill, have morphed into something much darker and more violent. With frequent clashes between protesters and police, Liu isn't the only Chinese celebrity who's weighed in. Jackie Chan got involved in this. Jackie Chan, martial arts film icon and native Hong Konger, called for peace on Thursday in an interview with China's broadcaster CCTV. He too was blasted on Twitter for the nationalist tone of his message. At one point he says in Mandarin, "I feel the pride of being a Chinese everywhere. The 5-starred red flag is respected everywhere." Yeah, especially at the box office, and especially at Disney's box office. So it's going to be really interesting to see if this has any influence on Disney's box office take for Mulan. I think Mulan is actually being designed for Chinese audiences badly. Is being designed for Chinese audiences badly because there was initial backlash against the casting of Lui Yifei. They weren't really on board with it. They said she's not a good actress, that she's more of a pretty face than an actress, and people were concerned when they hired her. That was part one of the controversy. Part two of the controversy is that there are numerous historical inaccuracies in the trailer. We haven't even seen the final movie yet. Numerous historical inaccuracies in the trailer. And of course now we've got the situation with protests and her coming out against the protests. So this is not the first controversy Disney has had in China recently regarding its live-action Disney movies. Chinese Disney fans did not like Halle Bailey being cast as the Little Mermaid. They have a huge problem with a darker-skinned actress playing the Little Mermaid. And we talked briefly about that before, I think in a live stream or in another video, but this actually does tie into the situation with Mulan, because here we have two tentpole princess movie remakes that could potentially bomb in China because the Chinese are not on board with the choice in actresses. So that's going to be really interesting. Again, a huge chunk of Disney's revenue, their box office, comes from China. They're absolutely depending on China to make these movies successful, and that might not be the case. So here, Chinese Disney fans decry Black Little Mermaid casting. Now, we've been told by Chinese viewers that Ariel is extremely popular in China. Again, I am not Chinese. I don't know how popular she is in China, but apparently Ariel, the cartoon version of Ariel, is very, very popular in China, and they were very upset to find out that she's not going to really look like herself, even though for the most part, every other Disney princess looked like herself, in the live-action remake. So, an online poll conducted by the Chinese entertainment platform See the Movie, over 60,000 respondents had signaled their displeasure over singer Halle Bailey playing the mermaid Ariel as of Thursday. Now, this was a month ago, and only 5,000 approved of her. So, while Western media outlets largely lauded Disney for its colorblind casting, the Chinese internet has unleashed a torrent of shock, anger, and disappointment. Shock, anger, and disappointment. They really are not happy about this at the multi-billion-dollar company for ruining their childhood memories and disrespecting the original work. Somebody said, "It's not that I don't like black people." And again, this is on Weibo. The problem is that this character was originally white with red hair. So when Black Panther was released in China last year, the Hollywood blockbuster prompted debate over attitudes toward race in China, a country where fair skin is often prized. Though the movie drew racist comments from some, others suggested the film would heighten awareness of race among domestic audiences. And again, this is something I really can't comment on. I have heard from multiple people that dark-skinned actors are not accepted well in China. Let me just put it that way. I don't know that situation. I can't tell you if that is actually the case or not. You know, you're going to have to inform me because I really don't know. But I do know that they were very upset about Ariel being African American because she doesn't look like herself. She doesn't look like herself. You know, and I think people, you know, when you have the brand awareness of something like the Little Mermaid, you know, the feisty redhead Ariel, and then you change her, you know, people are going to say things. They're going to say stuff. They're going to say stuff. So here a film critic said that Disney has embraced diversity with its casting of Asian and black actors, talking about the Nutcracker in the Four Realms, Spider-Man Homecoming, and they said if the actor does a good job and is suitable for the role, there's nothing wrong with casting them. We should not perpetuate stereotypes. However, some discussions on Chinese social media have sought to distinguish between diversity and tokenism, and questioned whether Disney might be succumbing to the latter. Okay, this is again coming from a random user on Weibo. Again, I think I'm pronouncing that right. If I'm not, I'm sure you guys will tell me, because you guys always tell me when I mispronounce something. I even went and looked this up, trying to make sure I pronounced it right. Casting a black actor in a role rooted in white culture, that's just a corporation trying to earn money by being politically correct. Real respect means giving black culture more representation on screen and allowing the black community to tell its own stories. I think most people in 2019 have absolutely no problem with new characters and new stories and new movies being told with more diverse cast, with minorities, with LGBTQ. I don't think there's any problem with new characters being created to reflect those stories. None at all. I think the problem people are having, and why we're kind of having this culture war, is that characters that are historically white, historically male, are being gender swapped, being race swapped, and the reason they're doing that is just to show how it's like it's half-assed diversity. It's like we're gonna be diverse, quote unquote diverse, but we don't have enough faith in these characters on their own, so we're sort of going to piggyback them onto an existing franchise, you know, instead of creating something new. Like we see this especially in comics, you know, instead of creating new comic book characters, they give the mantle of whatever, whether it's Thor or Spider-Man or whatever, they give it to another character because it's almost like they don't have enough faith in their own unique creation to survive on their own. But you gotta remember, you know, Spider-Man, when Spider-Man came out, Spider-Man was new. Thor was new. And there, you know, maybe these companies, if they would actually put some marketing dollars into new characters that were more diverse, you know, it would be more successful. But where most people are getting angry, and the Chinese seem to be voicing an opinion that if you voice over here, you are tarred and feathered and stoned in public on Twitter. For over there, they're like, you know, this is pandering. This is pandering and we don't like it. Give us something new. So they're talking about some of the other actresses that they would have picked. So this is, you know, a very interesting situation. Again, Disney depends heavily on the Chinese box office now. We've seen that Star Wars does not perform overseas, so they can't depend on that. Marvel does, for the most part, but they really bank on these princess movies, these live-action remakes, and now we've got two of them that might be potentially problematic with Chinese moviegoers. So, you know, Disney might not hit their $1 billion with each of these. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? But it'll be interesting to watch and see just, you know, how much impact the Chinese have on the American box office, because we know it's huge. We know it's huge. I mean, there are movie franchises now that exist basically to appease and appeal to Chinese audiences. The Pirates of the Caribbean movies don't do that well over here anymore, but Disney still makes them to appeal to Chinese audiences. Chinese, they love Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp is problematic over here. There was talk of them rebooting Pirates of the Caribbean without Johnny Depp, with a female lead. I don't know how that's going to play overseas, you know. And they bank on the overseas box office for Pirates. Same with Transformers. With the exception of Bumblebee and maybe the first Transformers, those movies are god-awful. And this is coming from a lifelong Transformers fan. I loved Bumblebee, and the first one was okay. But for the most part, the Transformers movies are god-awful, but they make money in China, and you can see it especially in 4 and 5, they made sure that they got a lot of, they had China as a backdrop, I think, in the 4th one. Made sure they brought Chinese actors and actresses in. They did the same thing with Independence Day, too. So they sort of bank on China very, very heavily now. Hollywood depends on China. So, it'll be interesting to see if Disney makes any decisions based on Chinese feedback in both of these cases. I don't think they will. But it'll be interesting to see what the box office is. So we're going to wrap this one up. Thanks so much for watching. We'll keep an eye on this situation. It's a really interesting development for sure. And unfortunately, we can't get away from politics and entertainment. It doesn't even matter if you go to another country. You can't get away from the politics and entertainment. And it's sad. It's really sad. So please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants here on Clownfish TV. This has been Neon, and we'll talk later. Hey guys, thanks for watching Clownfish TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.